Hey folks, this is Matt once again, and welcome to another review of another documentary. This time of His Name Was Jason, which most people already know came out around the same time as the remake was coming out. And once again, it's a 2-disc set, and actually the second disc I just got done watching. And, well, long story short, like I said previously, you had Halloween 25 Years of Terror, which I'm glad people liked the review. This time you have Tom Savini being the host of this 90-minute documentary. At least that's on the first disc. And I guess I'll start off with there. Now, basically, it's 90 minutes long. First, like 15 minutes is like they quickly go through the plots of they talk from part 1 to the remake. Not sure, at least till Freddy vs. Jason, the remake is mentioned, talked about a little bit, not too much. And then you go through, they have like different chapters, different things like the myth of Jason, you know, what is Jason about, what does he mean, the formula, you know, don't have sex or you'll die, don't do drugs, stuff like that. Kills, inconsistencies, just little stuff like that. The marketing of Jason, like the video game and lunchboxes, and not too much, a little bit on the TV series, not too much. And the thing is, last time on Halloween 25 Years of Terror, I talked about how out of all 3 documentaries of Halloween, of Elm Street, and of this one, each one's a 2-disc, and I said in Halloween 25 Years of Terror that the second disc was the weakest of all 3 for, you know, their second disc bonus features. But the weakest for the first disc, the main feature, is definitely this one, His Name Was Jason, which is a disappointment because I love the Friday the 13th films. 25 Years of Terror, and of course Elm Street, which is 4 hours long, which was a good length. This was I liked it, I still like it, but it's one of those things where I can sense why some people were disappointed, and I agree with them. Now, what am I talking about? Well, basically it's Tom Savini, you know, of course, like I said, he's the host. And the thing with the problem is, first off, it's sporadic. It just seems too random. There's a structure, but not much of a structure. It should have done like 25 Years of Terror and like Elm Street does, documentaries. They should have start from part 1, then go to part 2, cover all part 2, then go to 3, then go to 4, then go to 5. Here they just go all over the place. Like the first 15 minutes, like I said, they go through all the films very quickly on the plot, which is like, we already know the plot. I think that's another thing of a couple. One other thing is that, how I put it, they spend a lot of wasted time on shit we already know. Like, the most part, the people who don't buy this are hardcore fans. And it's almost like this was made, at least the documentary part was made for casual horror fans who didn't know what the fuck a Friday the 13th movie was. But it's like, we already know the plots, we already know the formula, some of the general stories we've heard so many times before. It's like you have, you know that whole phrase, you have meat and potatoes? It's like you have your potatoes, but there's not a lot of meat to it, the documentary. And another problem, I know I'm saying a lot of problems, and like I said, the first disc is the weakest of all the first discs of the 3 documentaries. Is all the online reviewers that they put in here and people we don't give a shit about. Why the fuck am I don't give a shit about Joe Lynch, the director of Wrong Turd 2? Wow, you made a movie that had a cool kill at the opening, and granted, you had a guy who was black who didn't die. But look, Joe Lynch of Wrong Turn 2, why the fuck are you here? You're trying to be cool, you're trying to be funny, and you fail. Adam Green, same thing. They did well on the commentary for Part 4 of Final Chapter because, you know, they were fans. It was a fan commentary. But here it just doesn't work. Especially the online reviewers. Like, why the fuck do I give a shit about these guys from Dread Central, Bloody Disgusting, or Shock Till You Drop? Why do I give a fuck about them? I don't give a fuck about what you have to say. It's like, if maybe it's jealousy. Like, damn, I could have done that. Hell, I'm a reviewer. Maybe not as popular as a website, but I review films. Put me on the fucking documentary. Hell, make a goddamn Ninja Turtles documentary. I'll fucking go on there and yap about shit. But I think that a lot of people will be like, who gives a fuck what I think? Like, who gives a fuck? And the big problem is that it's 90 minutes long, and you're talking about essentially 12 movies. First 10 movies, then Freddy vs. Jason, and then you have mentions of the remake. 12 movies, 30 years of Jason, and you're 90 minutes. It's not that long. It just feels too short, and you get some good nuggets of information, but it's not enough. It's a lot of wasted time with these bullshit online reviews that you don't give a fuck about, and the sporadic ways they have a lot of style, but I want to hear the info. Now, maybe because, probably doesn't help that I have this book. Now, this is the Crystal Lake Memories book. Any fan of Friday the 13th, you must have this book, because it is the most in-depth look you will ever have on a Friday the 13th series. Basically, it's all written in interviews. They go through each film from part 1 to Freddy vs. Jason. It's all interviews. So whether it be Robert Englund, whether it be Adam Marcus, John D. LeMay, Sean Cunningham, all the Jasons, they talk about the productions, the complaints, the problems. People are honest. The MPAA, a lot of photos, just a lot of information. Basically, it's all interviews with. They got everybody, including Corey Feldman, Steve Miner, which both of them are not in this documentary. I think maybe I spoiled myself because I read this, and there's a second book, Making Friday the 13th. I actually got this first because I found it. And then I heard about that, and I went, wow. And this is more of a straightforward. It's not interviews. It's just some guy writing about the making of all the films. A lot of good pictures too, which you're not seeing because I'm fucking it up. But I just I read both of these books, so of course I knew everything about it. But what pisses me off is that they go all over and they spend too much time bullshitting with online reviewers or shit like the formula. We already know the formula. We already know the plots of the movies. We've seen the movies. But I know all I've been doing is complaining. But if you're a fan, you should still give the documentary a watch, because you get to see a lot of the people, actors, and which is a shame because they're not given a lot of time to talk. It's like, wow, you got all these people, all these actors and actresses and directors and people who play Jason, and they're not given a lot to talk. Like, a lot of stuff to talk. Some of them do on the second disc, but not a lot of them. And of course, you don't have Crispin Glover. There's no Corey Feldman, and he was on the documentary behind the scenes on the box set, the Friday the 13th box set, the bonus disc. Corey Feldman's on that, so I don't know why he didn't do this. But of course, you don't have Crispin Glover, you don't have Kevin Bacon, you don't have Kimberly Beck. Who's the other one? I'm trying to think. Yeah, it would have been nice to hear Crispin Glover, but like they get his buddy Ted, who played Ted, and he has like a funny story about how he was supposed to act high, so he decided to get high in real life for the scene. Right before he gets killed, right through the porn movie, right through the projector, and how he was stoned and he was freaked out about it. But it's like you find a little interesting stuff, like the writer of the first movie. Jason's name was not going to be Jason. At first it was Josh, but they changed it to Jason. It's cool. There's a cool part in the documentary where they talk about the kills, their favorite kills, and they talk a little bit about how the kills were made. Of course, the Kevin Bacon, and all how different kills were made. There's a lot of good behind the scenes pictures, which was cool. And I mean, you find good bits and pieces. You have Amy Steele's in there, and I don't know, you get some good nuggets of information, but it's just, you know, they could have had a lot more meat to it, is what I'm getting at. And also on the first disc, you have Behind the Mask, extended interviews with the people who play Jason. And Ari Lehrman, I didn't really give a fuck about what the guy, he's like, oh, I'm the first Jason. I'm like, dude, you were a little kid. Don't be bullshit about, oh, my character motivation. You're a little kid, and all you had to do was jump out of a lake. I could have done the hill. I'm bald. Just shave the rest of my head, put some makeup on. I could have jumped out of a fucking lake. Okay, so... Ooh, wow, you jumped out of a fucking lake, Ari Lehrman. Whoop-de-fucking-do. So, I didn't hear shit about what he had to say.